All right. Episode 4, correct?
That's right.
All right, we're live. Another great week of life. Feels good to be back. Honestly, I'm just gonna go straight off the top of something that I don't know what it was, man. I don't know if it bothered me or it was like, I don't know. I think it's just sometimes on X, like when like a day when something's happening and like the Deion and Colorado shit this weekend on X was like maybe the most annoying thing ever. I just have a couple of points and then you can bounce off me. One, Colorado won one game last season. The fact that they've won 3 already like goes to show you the impact that you can have by having a great head coach and like a good quarterback, or honestly like he's turning into a great quarterback. Another thing is nobody, the overreaction of everybody that thought that they could be maybe a little bit better than what they were. They already are better than what they were supposed to be. Maybe the reaction of them potentially going further, like, I don't know, like a national championship or something was an extreme exaggeration. I like the national championship, but even like them doing what they're doing right now, like, is already an upgrade from what they were last year. And on top of that, getting all of these people to care about college football and tune in every single week is a win for college football. I don't know why like other coaches are so threatened by Deion. And then like I forget his name. What's the other coach's name from Oregon?
Dan Lanning, the head coach.
Yeah, Lanning is like doing his pregame speech being like, we're fighting for wins, they're fighting for clicks, when you have a entire camera crew sitting in there. And they go ahead and then drop a 5-minute cinematic video today about them beating Colorado. And then Dan Lanning is DMing Adam being like, hey, can you come out and I'll do an interview with you? Like, everybody's doing the same exact thing. I know everybody might not have been super tuned in to Jackson State last year, but Jackson State was creating content last year with Barstool on their own platforms and everything. That's Deion. Deion's been the same guy for the last 25 years, maybe more. I don't know. The fact that everybody's like so like against him now after everybody was building him up for the first 3 weeks, like, I don't know. I know I'm rambling a little bit, so if you want to like interject and like tell me what you think.
Yeah. So I don't think you're wrong. I think that people are probably just kind of getting sick about how everything's about them. No doubt they have been talked about a lot, and rightfully so. I mean, one of the best corners to ever play football coaching their team. They have a really good quarterback that just so happens to be his son that's probably going to be an NFL quarterback at some point. And they were also really bad, like you said, last year. So for them
not even really bad, awful.
Awful. And they have been
Yeah.
since what, the 80s, 90s. Colorado's been terrible.
They've been
So
bad
like
forever.
I can understand the overkill with like ESPN and everybody talking about him. I can get how that would be annoying, but like it's also like pretty cool, right? I mean, obviously, like, I personally like Deion Sanders. Like, I think he's a good coach. And we saw that at Jackson State. Now, he was able to bring in like some of the best players, but for them to already have 3 wins this season,
But in
they had
college,
1 last year, and like it's a great story so far, and people are just hating on it because I think it's getting a little overkill with how often it's being talked about. That's my assumption,
and that's completely fine. But part of being a coach in college is recruiting. I don't see any coach, maybe, and if you can maybe give me an example of a situation where they were able to land the number 1 recruit at an HBCU in Travis Hunter.
I don't think that there is a scenario where that's ever happened.
So why? So it's clear that like I said, I just think that like for me personally, I always struggle. I go back and forth with like I really fight to like college football, but I always think that it's a little rough because the best teams don't play the best teams, and there's like a big there's so many teams, there's a big lack of parity. And then you have somebody coming in like Deion, who is focused on building a brand, who's focused on building up his players, the program, college football, putting on spectacles, having the Rock on the sideline, Offset. Like that is what college Little Wayne, like that's what college football needs. And that I know, listen, Oregon had one goal, and that was to go out and absolutely beat the piss out of them. But at the same time, they're better up. Like the people who
they're
don't
better
actually,
all over.
They're all over better.
All over.
The people who don't understand and watch football on a week-to-week basis, that's fine. Colorado is going to lose more games this season as the season transpires. Regardless, they're not going to
be a one-loss team.
No.
Correct. I wanted to touch on the Oregon coach comment about how he was getting his guys fired up in the locker room. Obviously, having the film crew in there and saying we're fighting for wins, they're fighting for clicks, is kind of hypocritical. But I think it's more so of just like how are you going to fire your guys up? And that's how he chose to do it. I mean, it worked, but
it worked. Yeah, I mean,
it was
like I said,
it was pretty hypocritical if you're going to say you're fighting for clicks while you are,
and then to hit up,
everything.
And then to fucking DM Brenneman and be like, hey, like, can I hop on the pod?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Like, good for Adam. I hope Adam goes out there and gets that interview because there's going to be a clip about Adam asking for Deion that's going to get 1 million views, and good for AB. He needs that.
Mm-hmm.
So I get doing all of that. I just thought, I don't know, bro. That shit it was so corny the entire weekend. Like everybody was like, people on X were like, oh, I told you guys that Colorado were frauds. Like, but it's just like they won one game last year and they literally are rolling over an entire new roster, and they've already beaten 3 super tough opponents. And then look at headlines. They were massive underdogs. And it's not even like, even going into Oregon and playing that game, they were 21-point underdogs. It's not like it was a pick 'em and Oregon came out and like Vegas thought they were going to get smashed, and they did.
Yeah. It was pretty ugly. I mean, Oregon was pretty much doing whatever they wanted, but that's what you do when you are a team that's going to be in the hunt for a national championship potentially, and probably one of the best 2 teams in the Pac-12. I mean,
for sure, them in Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to throw USC in there, but probably not as top 2. But
fair.
There's really not a whole lot else to say about this. I mean, Oregon was better all over. I think Deion came out after the game and was like, "Get these wins in while you can," something along those lines. Because moving forward, like they're not just going to be cupcakes. I mean, it's his first year, and he hasn't really had a legitimate chance to like get out on the road and begin to like really bring guys in for like the future. Right. So if he ends up staying at Colorado long term, they're going to end up being a very good team. I mean, Colorado's a really nice place. People want to play for Deion. So, I mean, I think he's right in his comments post game or whenever he made that. I mean, get your wins in now. I think they'll end up being a solid, really competitive team in the future. So
for sure. All right, we can move on. Like I said, I wanted to touch on that a little bit. The next thing I want to touch on is Mike McDaniel is an absolute mastermind, and there's no denying it anymore. This weekend, putting up 70 points. I think the last time that was done was in the 60s, and I just never have seen a team like, I mean, obviously it hasn't been done in our lifetime. We have never seen something like that happen in the NFL. It was a spectacle.
I mean, did anybody have a worse weekend than the state of Colorado?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They need a big bounce back.
Just a terrible weekend for that state as a whole, getting I mean, dog walked by Oregon, and then the
Boat
Broncos got
race.
absolutely
Boat
embarrassed.
race. They got, yeah, it was bad.
I mean, the Dolphins put up 70 points, and they didn't even have their second best receiver. I mean, this was all done without Waddle.
Without Waddle, yeah.
I mean, what are you doing, Sean Payton? You going to stop anybody? Are you going to do a single thing to try and stop somebody? I mean, fucking Mike White walked in there and threw a 68-yard touchdown. I mean,
I'll tell you what,
it's just bad coaching. It's just nobody being ready, and they're just really bad. It's that's all there is to it.
Having to see a literal image of PS2 getting a bomb caught on him by Chosen Anderson wearing one glove was maybe the hardest thing I had to look at all weekend. I was like, there's just no, he's wearing one glove.
And it's Patrick Surtain is a phenomenal corner.
Yeah.
But it's really, really rough. I mean, Russ has to be done. Like, this has to be his last game.
The thing is like, we talked about that, and I said this was his last game. When your defense gives up 70 points, you can't really, and even last week, and maybe me being like, hey, Russ is cooked, it might be a little like overstated, honestly, but like, when your defense gives up 70 and then the week before you give up that massive comeback win to the Commanders, the defense is a massive liability who, if you look at their numbers last year, they were in the top 10 of pretty much every statistical category, floating between the 7th range and the 10th range. Yeah. And now they're just like a bottom 5 defense. And I just don't know where that comes from.
Didn't they got a new defensive coordinator, I believe.
Yeah, Vance Joseph from Arizona, who puts out decent defenses.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe just the fact that the offense has been like not great is just starting to carry over to the defense, and it's just like everybody's depleted. Everybody's had enough of this. Like, as bad as the defense has been, the offense isn't even really giving them a chance. And like, that's when you kind of have to step up as an offense. Somebody's got to step up, and nobody's doing it. So you're just getting ugly ass games like this.
Well, me and you could definitely go on with the Broncos hate, but I just want to ring off some stats about this Dolphins offense, because I feel like that's the story here. 71 plays, 726 total yards, 14 total drives, 10.2 yards per play. They were getting a first down on every single play. 376 passing yards, 350 rushing yards, 6 for 6 in the red zone. Tua went 23 for 26, 309, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. I mean, this Dolphins team is the real deal, and there's no other way to put it. Tua is the absolute real deal. He is house money right now. I love him. I loved him last year. It was a damn shame to see him get hurt, but him and McDaniel are 100% on the same page, and they're absolutely fucking ripping right now.
Yeah, I mean, those stats pretty much sound like me when I play Madden on rookie and like turn the sliders down. Literally. It's just been it's stupid. 3 incomplete passes, 4 touchdowns, 309 yards. I mean, McDaniel is just like you said, him and Tua are just in sync. It looks good. It looks scary. Again, no Waddle, and they still put up 700 yards of offense.
Yeah, another thing that like really impressed me. I mean, me and you talked about it. I think you have Raheem Mostert. I have Raheem Mostert in every single fantasy league. He was just a guy that I liked late. He had 4 touchdowns. Devin Achane had a massive breakout game. The fact that they were able to
he had, I think, let me see here. He had 203 yards and 2 touchdowns.
The fact that they were
on like 18 carries.
The fact that you're able to have that sort of ground game as well, on top of having the two most dangerous weapons on the field at all time, and Waddle and Reek. I love this team a lot. I love them. Like I said, my Tua MVP bet is like at a $35 cash out already. Like, it's just they just look really good, and that was something that I took away from the weekend. Watching that game, I was just like in awe.
Yeah, if you're other head coaches, you see what they're doing. Now, I get not every team has a Tyreek Hill, but I think I saw a stat that was like they had motion on like 49% of their plays. And a lot of that is just getting Tyreek Hill going before the snap. Like, he's obviously the fastest guy in the league. If you can get him a head start,
Why not?
why not? If you're other head coaches and you see that, why are you not trying to get your guys in somewhat of a head start against some of these defenses? I mean, even I'm not saying you need to run motion 49% of the time. That's probably not realistic, but um, maybe run it a couple times, see what happens. I mean, you see what Tyreek Hill's doing. He's going crazy. I mean, he's putting up ridiculous numbers. Why not give it a shot? See what happens. I mean, there's plenty of great receivers in the NFL that are also fast, but I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to touch on actually just kind of popped into my head because me and you were texting about it was the Brandon Staley somehow keeping his job for another week, going for it on his own 26-yard line. There's been speculation on Twitter that that was the correct move because of analytics. Let's just put it this way. Your job's on the line. You've had a spotty defense the entire season. Your run game, you're on your second string running back, and he looks bad. Joshua Kelly does not look good. Even if Austin Eckler's in there, I wouldn't say he's the strongest runner to do something like that. And then they get bailed out with an interception as well. Then me and you talked about it. Brandon Moon was talking about it on Twitter, saying about like how the public doesn't have the same analytics as coaches do. I texted our good friend that works in the NFL and debunked that completely. The public has just as good as access to all of the information that the coaches have in the NFL now, just due to all these databases and all the people and all of the access on the internet. It's literally as easy as a Google search to figure this stuff out. So I think if they would have went for it on the 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 on their own 26, they got it. They had an 84% chance to win the football game. And then if they kicked it deep, they had an 82% chance to win the football game. But then the argument is, okay, our team has looked extremely spotty. The run games look spotty. Whatever. It's a 2% difference. Let's kick this deep and let's have Kirk Cousins have to drive 65 to 70 yards instead of 20.
Yeah, I mean, the analytics don't take into account how the flow of the game has gone, how bad the Chargers have been running the football. Kirk Cousins playing on the other side of the ball. It doesn't take just seeing just seeing how the game has played out. The analytics don't take that into account. So obviously it's easy for us to like sit here, or it's easy for like a coach to be like, okay, analytics tell me to do this, so I'm going to do this. But if you haven't any feel for the game, you see how bad you've been running the football, and you punt the ball and you pin the other guys deep, and you make the Vikings go 70 yards and score a touchdown. It wasn't like they needed a field goal. They needed to score a touchdown. It was just horrible decision making, but somehow they got bailed out.
Listen, Staley lives to see another week. He's still my favorite for first coach fired. That decision was brutal. If they didn't somehow get a miracle on defense, he wouldn't have been flying back with the team. Let's just put it that way.
Another thing that I wanted to just mention is like, how are some of these coaches so bad at game management? Like, these guys have been doing it for a lot longer than you and I. And we sit here and we see the game and are just like, well, why would we do that here? Another situation was the Raiders against the Steelers. I believe it was on Thursday night. They kicked a field goal down 8 deep in Steelers territory. And the reasoning was, well, we needed to get the ball back again. If you go for it and score, go for 2, tie game, right? I mean, these guys have been in the league, and it's just horrible decision making. And it blows my mind how bad and it just seems like lack of common sense in some situations. And I guess that's analytics just getting in the way sometimes. But if the average person can sit here and say, like, that's probably not the best decision and they do it anyways, what are we doing?
I texted Andrew because Andrew was like, nothing like kicking a field goal. Like, he was just like roasting him,
Yeah,
obviously, because it was stupid.
it was
And
so bad.
I texted Andrew and I said, I think every team needs to hire a guy exactly like me, dressed in no team gear on the sideline. And whenever a decision needs to get made, they look at me and I'm like, why in the fuck would you guys do that? Like, you know what I mean? And be like, yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Like, it makes zero sense to kick a field goal here. Let's go for it. Like, you need a type of guy like that. I feel like everything is so like, it's so tense in the heat of the game that, like, I think just like general thought and like common sense sometimes gets like overthought, and they are like, well, if I do this and then do this, then we're good. So I don't know. I agree with you. Some horrendous coaching decisions, but the two coaches that we just talked about and how bad those decisions that they just make, they are on the fucking a scorching hot seat.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many more weeks that those two guys end up being the head coaches of the Chargers and the Raiders. But it just blows my mind watching some of this stuff happen, because obviously this isn't like the first time, but I don't know. I getting caught up in the heat of the moment sometimes, and I don't know, dude. It blows my mind.
All right, well, let's move into the elimination pool. I got real quick. I got absolutely murdered betting this weekend, like no other. It's actually embarrassing, but I'll have a bounce back week. No worries. Anyway, the elimination pool, I had the LA Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs throttled. The LA Rams game was weird. I still like the pick that I made. Like, the Bengals had one good drive, and
yeah, the Bengals had one good drive. I mean, watching that game, Joe Burrow clearly is still not healthy. They were trying to run any plays that just kept him in the pocket and limited him from having to run or roll out at all. I'm still worried about this Bengals team. They did not look good.
Yeah, I didn't feel any differently after that game about them, other than like, okay, good for you guys. One, T. Higgins has the case of the drops this year. I don't know what's going on with him. Two, finally got Jamar Chase going. Good for them. You should get him going at all times. But like I said, like, they had one good drive. The Rams had a kind of a bullshit call that Tutu Atwell, like, quote unquote, stepped out, and it kind of killed them for the rest of the game, and they couldn't really get their run game going. And it was just like a weird game for them. But I mean, that's the way she goes. So I'm 5-1 on the season. Who were your two teams? I forget.
I had the Ravens, and I also had one team. I went 1-1. Who was my other team? I think I had the Bills. No, that might have been 2 weeks ago.
No, I talked you out of the Bills.
You did. The fuck was my other team? Well, I can't remember. I know that they won. Who the did I pick? No, I did pick the Bills.
Yeah.
I had the Bills because I was going to pick them the other week.
No, you had Dallas. You had Dallas because I was going to pick Dallas, and then you picked Dallas. And then I said, okay, then I'll pick the Rams. So you had the Ravens and Dallas, and you went 0-2 again.
How the fuck am I doing this? Honestly, it's impressive how bad I'm at.
Because I have it written down right here because I forgot about that. Okay, so Noah's on an all-time bad streak for the elimination pool. Holy fuck.
I mean,
You need
those
to
were
get
2 games that were crazy.
you need to
So
get into the
crazy
win
that they
column.
both lost.
You need to get into the
What the
win
fuck is
column.
happening?
All
I mean,
right, so
the Ravens the Ravens, I don't even know what to say about them. Played in the rain, but Gardner they got Minshew mania'd. That's
he's what like
the easy.
listen, I said that all week last week. You said like even the line and like everything like that. He's just one of those backup quarterbacks that if he played for any team in the NFL, he genuinely does have a chance to go out and win the game. He does. He's just
Mhm.
he like just gets being a he's the one of the like he's like a top 3 backup quarterback, maybe 2. Yeah, I like Minshew. Good for him. Good win.
You know what's unfortunate is the Eagles had him as as the backup last year, and both games that he played, they lost.
Yeah.
So
He
that
fought
hurts.
against
He
Dallas.
100% he fought against Dallas, but that Saints game was ugly.
Ugly. Let's touch on the Cowboys game because that's an awful pick by you. An
That
awful
was
loss.
awful loss. I mean, this game, what, 28-16? I don't really think the game was that close.
No, the
The
Cardinals
Cardinals just did
dominated.
whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
They ran
And
up and down the field, and the Cowboys offense just looks bad. I don't think they really know who they are. They've been able to rely on that defense and just been able to sort of run the ball and run the clock down. They haven't really had to do a whole lot on the offensive side of the ball. And losing Diggs obviously sucks. That defense is still really good, and they weren't able to rely on him, and the Cowboys offense just had no answer.
well, something more that should be discussed is the Cardinals should easily be 3-0 right now. They're a really good football team, and I think that they got absolutely dragged and made fun of all offseason with their head coach hire. He turns out to be a really great head coach, and all of those guys really love playing for him, actually. And you can tell by afterwards, they're dumping Gatorade on him and hugging him and all smiles. Like those guys fight for that head coach literally every single week. Their young players are playing extremely well. Their defensive coordinators is dialing up absolute game plans against really good offenses. I mean, it's just clear. I like that team a lot, and we've been talking about them kind of on and off. They're going to get K1 back this season. I don't think that they're in the discussion for the Caleb Williams pick and actually in any way, shape, or form, unless if the Texans, who actually looked good last weekend, somehow start tanking. I don't think that they're in that conversation for that top quarterback, and I think that they made that pretty obvious this weekend. They're a team that is going to fight, and once they get their quarterback back, who knows what will happen with this team.
Yeah, I think this team just has a shit ton of energy, and they, like you said, they clearly like playing for their coach. They actually have a pulse as opposed to like the Bears and the Broncos. It just feels a little bit different in Arizona
God, the Bears suck.
as far as one of like the lower teams in the division go, or in the league, excuse me. But yeah, I think this first overall pick is probably going to come down to like the Bears and the Broncos.
Yeah.
I don't know when Kyler Murray's supposed to come back, but
I think you're going to see him come
Cardinals
back after.
It's kind of they've got some games.
I think you're
going to
see. I think you're going to see Kyler come back probably around like week 6 to 8.
So that
they'll
puts
activate him
at
off of the PUP
the Rams.
list. Yeah.
So that puts him at Rams, Seahawks, or Ravens. None of those are easy games.
Listen, no game. Like we talked, you said this last week. No games are quote unquote easy, but
these guys get paid to play too.
Just getting back somebody as dynamic as Kyler Murray and as good as him, and how well Josh Dobbs is playing, and you drop Kyler in there, who is a full 10 tiers above Josh Dobbs. I don't know. Like I said, I like this team. They might, bro. Like trust me, they're probably going to have a really bad loss this season. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say that they're going to be like a playoff team, but I think like it's very realistic that they go out and win like maybe like 6 or 7 games. When
That
people were
offensive line
predicting
has
them to
also been-
literally go 0-16. But go ahead.
I think they're lined. I was going to say, I think the win-loss was at like 2.5 for the year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That I will say, their offensive line's playing really well, and they're making it easy for Josh Dobbs too. I mean, he only had 189 pass yards, but if they're able to run the ball like they have been, then that makes life a whole lot easier on your quarterback. So
definitely,
we'll see.
Well,
That game was Dak. Remember, I told you I have his over in interceptions.
Picks.
That was one.
Yeah,
that pick was rough.
Yeah, that was
there might have been 2 other guys that would have picked that off.
Yeah,
if it wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't remember who had that interception, but 2 other guys could have snagged that.
And there's also a big difference in throwing picks and then throwing picks to end the game
like that.
That was a bad pick. I mean, it's honestly like not really defensible. You saw like the overhead behind look, and there was 3 defenders standing in the middle of the field, and I didn't even see a Cowboys jersey. But hey, I don't know. I have no clue what he saw on that play, but I mean that they lost the game on that.
I don't even think he knew what he saw on that play.
Anyway, let's get into the elimination for this week. We would like to see you get on.
I need this week bad. I need 2 wins this week so badly. Do you know who you want?
Who are your 2 teams that you're liking this week? Do you want me to go first? I let you go first, and if you pick the same game as me, I usually fade you.
I'll go. I won't pick the same teams as you, so go ahead.
Okay, I'm going both these teams get their first win this week. I'm going Vikings, and I'm going the Chicago Bears.
Oh God. Wow. I mean, I like the Vikings. Is Bryce Young playing? Is he still going to be out, or is it going to be the Red Rocket?
I think he's going to play this week.
Okay. All right. Let me see here. There's so much pressure on me right now.
You just need to get in the win column.
I hate this pick, but I'm going to run with it. Chargers versus the Raiders. Give me the Chargers.
Okay.
All right. Second team that I'm going to take. Jeez, this is just. There's a lot of good games this week, actually. All right, so give me Chargers and give me the Jags across the pond.
Okay.
Jags versus Falcons in London.
Perfect. Jags are staying out there for 2 weeks. They play 2 London games and then they'll be back. So
yeah,
they're going to be out there for a little while. I like that game. I'm excited to watch the Toy Story version of that game. I'm not even going to watch the regular broadcast, actually.
What's your favorite thing about London?
The big clock.
Big Ben.
Big Ben is my favorite thing about London.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the fish and chips, and I don't even like fish.
So there we go. You guys can probably feel pretty confident with placing a Raiders and Atlanta money line. I'm pretty sure that pays about like 6-1, and since Noah's literally like brutal at this, so fade Noah if you want to hop on the winless teams getting their first win this week. I think you should do that. Like I said, I'm probably gonna fade this Broncos team as much as possible. I just think they're down. I just like don't know how you like stand up in front of your team after giving up 70 and being like, all right, let's go out and win this week.
Let's do this. The good thing is, though, they're playing another really bad team, so
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
always a positive. That always
Bro,
helps.
one of the most mismanaged this is a complete curveball, and this might not be true, and he might get in trouble for this, is everybody was labeling their defensive coordinator as a child predator, using different words than what I would usually words due to the YouTube restrictions. But people were labeling this guy as an absolute complete scumbag, and he like actually, at least from what we know as of right now, he actually just stepped away due to some sort of weird thing going on in their building where their HR director had to get involved, and he had to resign from his position and work on his quote unquote health. And the internet took that and ran with it. Another segment on how the internet has been absolutely brutal this weekend and turned this guy into a predator. So definitely don't know the full story. He still could be, but it seems it's trending that it's not that. Just interesting that the Bears didn't want to come out in front of that story and maybe save that guy's reputation, maybe even just a little bit.
Yeah, especially if there was nothing wrong or nothing like serious happened. But I guess it's a sign that if the Bears didn't even come out and get ahead of the story, that something bad probably happened. But hey, we don't know. We don't have the facts. I do.
Yeah, we don't have the
remember
facts,
seeing
but
that the guy hired a lawyer.
yeah,
But that's about all that I know.
yeah,
I will
yeah.
chime in though on one other thing about how brutal the internet has been, and it is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Dude, I literally didn't even want to talk about it. It's that bad.
That's all that we
I'm
have to
with
say.
you.
It's been brutal. That's all that we had. I just wanted to put that in there.
I'm with you. I don't know if you know who Kelly Keegs is. I don't know if you follow Barstool like too heavy or not.
I've
But
seen her here and there. She's like the biggest T Swift fan.
she is, and like, listen, bro, like I'm all for being like super fans and shit like that, but like how like involved they are like in like her dating life is just like psychotic to me. Like it's just weird, but like I said, Kansas City needs to lock it the fuck in. I hate shit like this. Like
such a distraction.
I don't care about any of that. The one thing that I will say, and then we can move on. People saying that Travis Kelce isn't like quote unquote like on her level is like, I just think that's wrong. Like in America, football is like the most culturally relevant thing. Like in America, we have an entire day on Sundays dedicated to it. I'm like Big Cat said, like I'm right on par with him. Like if you're dating somebody who is arguably the best at his position ever in the most relevant thing in America, like it, I mean, they're pretty much on par with each other. And like, I don't know. I just think that was like insane to downplay the relevance of like football in America.
Yeah. I also think outside of Travis Kelce being a one or two tight end ever, he's also just like a very popular guy within the NFL outside of him being good at football. And what do these people expect? I mean, Taylor Swift isn't going to date Cristiano Ronaldo. That guy's married.
Yeah.
Mbappe.
Yeah.
She's probably taller than him.
Yeah.
Shout out to Short Kings, respectfully. Who else? Messi. Like, those are all guys that are Bad Bunny, Drake. Those are all guys that are probably on the same level as far as like stardom goes.
Yeah, stardom. Yeah, like global relevance, maybe.
Yeah, those are probably, just to name a few, those are probably the biggest. Justin Bieber probably is another one that's up there.
Yeah.
But like
his wife is a rocket, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Different conversation.
Yeah.
Completely different conversation. We go ahead.
I mean, outside of those handful of guys, like we're not going to sit here and say that Travis Kelce's an ugly guy, and we're not going to sit here and say that
he's beautiful
below her to date that guy.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
Whatever.
Her fans just are
fuck it. Yeah, her fans. They're
delusional.
They're fucking nuts. And listen, I'm a big fan of like a few people, and like I don't hide the fact that I'm big fans of them. Like but relax, like holy fuck. But yeah, I mean, let's just get in. I mean, do you want to touch on anything that happened last week that you feel as if we didn't touch on? I know that we kind of like went off on a little tangent on a few things, but any games that you wanted to touch on?
I just had like a couple bullet points. So Saints, Packers, Saints lose Derek Carr, but they get Alvin Kamara. I think that's pretty important for them.
Have them fantasy.
There you go. Who else here? We already touched on the Bengals. I wanted to talk a little bit about Derrick Henry. So he just had his 1800th carry. I haven't heard anything about Derrick Henry this year. I looked up his stats, and like they're okay, but are we getting to the point where like Derrick Henry is starting to slowly fade away?
Yeah, I mean, this was the big thing with him is always fantasy. Obviously, a lot of people play fantasy football. I've been fading him like the last like 4 years because I was like, the Derrick Henry fall off is gonna happen this year, and then it hasn't. But I think that like it could like firmly happen. Like he's just slow and like big, and he has a lot of miles under his belt. And I think that like I still think that he definitely has a place in the NFL, but him being like King Henry, leading rusher, I think those days are maybe a little bit behind him.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask, at what point do the Titans start playing one of their backup quarterbacks? Like they drafted 2 guys for a reason, and it's not like, I get it's 3 games into the season, but the offenses looked really bad. They're 30th in yards per game and 30th in yards on the offensive side of the ball per game. Or pass yards per game, excuse me. It's been rough.
I have the answer for you, honestly. They've missed on both those draft picks, and they haven't hit it. The last year in a must-win game for them to go to the playoffs, they signed Josh Dobbs on a week notice to go out there and play in the biggest game of the season. They don't trust Malik Willis. He's not that good. That's all you heard all season. Then they go and take maybe one of the craziest drops of all time in Will Levis, where he was like a guaranteed top 5 lock from like every single analyst in the space. And he fell to the second round and got taken by the Titans. And then you hear that he's struggling, he's not doing well, and he gets beat out by Malik Willis for the second string spot. They've missed on that position. They have an old quarterback at the position right now. He's not playing well, and they're literally sitting there, and they look at the guys who are behind him, and they have zero faith in those guys, because if they had any sort of faith in those guys, you would hear about them. You don't hear anything about them. You heard that Malik Willis had like a decent camp and he's like trending in a better direction than what he was. But that Will Levis pick, man, how bad that roster is. They should have used that pick on something else. I mean, I never saw. Listen, I spent a lot of time with Will in the fall, like going down to Kentucky and shit. Great dude. I think that he's a amazing guy. He's probably going to have a great career as a backup. But like them taking him in the second round when you could have probably waited to like kind of like what they did with Malik, where they're like, all right, like let's just wait to the 4th and we can scoop this guy. That was another guy that fell. So the 2 guys that they took shots at quarterback were guys that the NFL kind of consensus were like out on.
Yeah, they definitely missed on both. I mean, they also haven't given. I guess it goes to show, if Malik Willis is beating you for the backup spot, then you probably really don't have. I don't know if you have much of a future in the NFL, to be honest.
I was trying to be nice.
I know, and I've got nothing against Will Levis either, but that's probably not a great sign, especially if Ryan Tannehill is your starting quarterback and Malik Willis is the quarterback that's in front of you. It's probably not great. But yeah, I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on that.
And we both watch college football. We watched Will play at Penn State. I don't think he stood out really at all. Then you really look back at him at Kentucky and his career at Kentucky, and it wasn't that impressive from a statistics standpoint, and even his gameplay standpoint. He had flashes. A lot of people fell in love with the idea of him being like a big dude with a rocket of an arm, but once you really break down everything that happened, his college career was a little bit underwhelming, and I think a lot of people probably wanted to gamble on the upside of what he possibly could be, and maybe under the right system he could be something, but I don't think Tennessee can tap into that side of him.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I really don't think there's anything else to say about it. But I just wanted to see sort of what you thought. Another thing I wanted to sort of touch on was just how good Jalen Carter's been playing for the Eagles. It's been a lot of fun watching that guy play, and he's not even playing all the snaps at D tackle, and he's still just being an absolute menace.
Yeah, I think that kind of plays into it though a little bit of why he doesn't have to play all the snaps. Being able to stay fresh and consistent and be at full speed every single time he's in the game is playing into a lot of the reason why he's so successful. Them being so deep along the defensive line, and him getting to come in on key moments and key downs, and getting to show those flashes at full speed, at being fully rested, and it really shows. And I think that's why, like, you see a lot of these defensive tackles who have to play an entire game, like, they're big dudes, and playing in D line is a physical spot, and getting to have like those moments where you can actually take a step back and catch your breath and then go back into the game. I mean, sky's the limit is for that guy. I love him. He's amazing, honestly.
Yeah, it's still unbelievable that he fell to the Eagles, but I'm thankful every day that it happened.
Yeah.
So through 3 weeks, he's got 15 pressures, which is second in the NFL out of all D tackles. 1.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, QB hits, 2 tackles for loss, all while playing under 50% of the snaps. I mean,
yeah, he's amazing.
That's a playmaker right there on the defensive side of the ball. And even if I didn't read you off those stats, you watch the game, you would still be able to tell just how big of a difference he is having him in there. It's awesome.
Him being able to go in, also playing under 50% of the snaps and making the most of every single snap that he gets in, just goes to show you how special he is. And like you said, amazing that he fell to him. I remember seeing a tweet before the draft. Andrew sent it to me. He was like, if the Eagles don't come out of this draft with Jalen Carter, something went wrong. And as soon as he fell past a certain point, Howie dialed up the phones and made sure that he was a Philadelphia Eagle. So great look by them to scoop him up, and he seems to be in a great situation.
I saw a video on Twitter. I believe they traded with the Bears to move up to that nine spot. Yes. And the Bears were like happy and celebrating that they just traded for like a 4th round pick to switch spots with the Eagles. And I mean, they got Darnell Wright. I don't know how well Darnell Wright's been playing this year, to be honest with you, but I will say that 0-3 is probably not a great sign as to how well he's playing. I bet you they wish they probably had a guy like Jalen Carter at this point. Because that
honestly, bro,
is brutal.
Honestly, this is kind of like I wasn't planning on talking about it, but we can kind of talk about the Chicago Bears, like just real quick. And I think that whole franchise is, they took Darnell Wright. I don't think he's playing for them right now, bro. I mean,
don't. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've been following the Browns or the Bears that closely.
Anyway, they traded.
Oh no, he's playing.
They traded the 32nd pick in last year's draft, which ended up being Joey Porter Jr. for Mapletron. Mapletron is maybe the worst pickup. Like, that guy's worth a fifth at best, and he's pretty much chalked in his NFL career. He doesn't care anymore. And then you go the year after, you take Justin Fields, verdict's out. That's a miss as well. As much as I like Justin Fields, it's a miss. Then, like you said, you have an opportunity in this draft. You have the Panthers trade up and take Bryce Young. Maybe Bryce Young wasn't their guy, completely fine. But then they move back again when they could have taken a defensive player who on the board. Like, I'm looking at the defensive players who got taken. Devin Witherspoon, Paris Johnson Jr. has been a phenomenal tackle. Tyree Wilson, he's been awful. Bijan Robinson, amazing. Jalen Carter, maybe the best player in the draft. Then they take Darnell Wright, and there's still a ton of good players left on the board. And it just seems like, I don't know, man. I think that whole franchise is kind of in shambles right now. And I think the only way to really handle that is to absolutely get Ryan Poles out of there and allow another regime to kind of take control. Otherwise, they might be in shambles for the next 20 years because they need to get somebody new in there.
Yeah, to be fair, they did need help along the offensive line. So I understand them taking a tackle, but it's just crazy to hear those names of the guys that were right around there, and it seems like they just completely missed. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not following Darnell Wright, so I could be very wrong. He could be having a great year, but it's just tough seeing, if you're a Bears fan, Jalen Carter go out there and put up all pro numbers in 50% of the snaps when
he's probably
you guys,
pretty
well, they can't stop anybody.
They're bad.
They need to stop hiring people named Matt. Like, they had Matt Nagy and he was good for 1 year, and then they have Matt Eberflus now and he's just terrible. So
he's terrible. He's awful.
Anybody named Matt should not get an interview for their job.
For the Chicago Bears, not any coaching job. Nothing against Matt. We don't want to push out a false narrative. But no, I think you're completely right. And bro, I just can't believe I had the under in that. So I smacked the over in the Cardinals Dallas game, and then I had the under in the Chiefs Bears game, and it hit when Justin Fields threw that last minute BS touchdown. I was fighting the entire I might have been the only person in fucking America watching the last quarter of that game, sweating it out. But I mean, the Bears suck. I mean, I watched every second of that game. On offense, they can't do anything. They go and they trade for DJ Moore. Hasn't been impactful at all. I don't know what happened to Darnell Mooney. He was a 1,000-yard receiver 2 years ago. He's been quiet the last two. Mapletron, like we said, he sucks. They can't get the running game going. Justin Fields can't run. Their defense is Swiss cheese. They have one decent safety in Jaquan Brisker. I hope he turns out pretty good. He seems like to be a good young player. But other than that, I mean, they go and sign Terrell Edmonds. He's kind of been really Tremaine or Terrell. I forget.
I think it's Tremaine. I think Terrell's the one on the Eagles.
Tremaine, great player, love him, from Virginia Tech, but I mean, he's been underwhelming for that defense as well. And like I said, I just think it's a culture issue, but we spent enough time on the Bears. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on from last week?
They also have TJ Edwards, but because he was an Eagle, that's the only reason why I had him in mind. But yeah, I would say that's about it. Honestly, this slate for last week did not move me. I mean, I didn't really care for it. Some of these games ended up being better than I thought going into the week, but I don't know. I didn't think this was that great. I thought that the Vikings Chargers game was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Saints Packers was a close game. Ravens Colts ended up being a close game. Seeing the Cowboys lose is always fun.
For sure.
But no, that's all I got for you for week 3 on to week 4.
Yeah, let's dive in.
So
ring it off.
Week 4 starts Thursday night, Lions Packers. Let me see the line here.
While you're looking at the line, honestly, amazing load management by them last weekend, sitting out Bakhtiari, Packers, sitting out Bakhtiari, Jair Alexander, Aaron Jones, who those guys are always kind of a little bit banged up. They really can't seem to stay healthy, honestly. And they're like, yo, fuck it.
Watson,
Watson, fuck it. We play Thursday night. Let's shut everybody down this week. If we drop this game, whatever. They actually came out, fought, won last week. I think this is a big spot for the Packers. I think this is kind of like I think this is a game that LaFleur wins. And honestly, I'm thinking that the line, it's Green Bay at Detroit at Green Bay. I'm probably thinking they're 3-point favorites.
Green Bay? You think Green Bay is the favorite, or you think the Lions are the favorite?
I think Green Bay should probably be a 3-point favorite in the spot.
Green Bay is a 1.5-point dog. I think the reason is because they haven't announced all those guys are playing yet. I think if we end up getting those announcements, then that line changes drastically. I mean,
what's their money line right now?
Plus 102.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's
you're getting all of your best players back.
If anybody's watching this, we're smacking Green Bay money line. I don't care. And if you don't like it, Noah, too bad. You're smacking it too. I think that's a lot. I think that's a lock. I know that Detroit went out last week and did their thing against Atlanta. Atlanta didn't stand a chance against Detroit. I don't know what happened with them. It was they just didn't look sharp at all. No. But like I said, you get all those guys back. Yeah, Green Bay money line. Fuck it. I thought they were going to be 3-point favorites. So.
No, I like that pick as well. I mean, getting all your best players back is definitely a good sign. The next game we got here is 9:30 across the pond. Jags Falcons. Jags are a 3-point favorite here. What do you think about the games in London? Actually, are you a fan of them? You like them or what?
I mean, it's cool to wake up in the morning and watch them. For the guys, they probably fucking hate them. I couldn't imagine. Maybe we can end up talking to one of the guys one day. That'd be cool. And get their opinion on it. We'll see. I don't see why not. I think highly of us, but yeah, I think that they probably hate them, and I don't know. I think it's cool for the fans, but maybe not so cool for the players.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea that they're keeping the Jags out there for 2 weeks, because flying out there for a week would kind of suck. But if you get to actually be out there for 2 weeks and
relax
and kind of just chill, get adjusted, and kind of get used to it. Yeah, I don't think it would be that bad. I do like the morning football, which is always nice. So yeah, I don't really think it's that bad. The one thing that really throws me off is how there's these rumors about potentially having an NFL team in London. That would fucking suck.
That'd be rough.
It would be so ass for whoever that team is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, flying halfway across the world every time, every other week. I'm sure they would play it though. So you play 3 games away and then 3 games home or something like that. So you aren't just going back and forth every other week, but that would still be really rough.
Yeah, it would be rough. As for the game, I want to see Jacksonville get going. I'm not worried completely yet. I know they went on a little dry spout to start the year last year, where they just looked weird, and then they were oh, the Jags are still the Jags, and then they turned it on, and I think they won 8 of their last 9 or something like that. I don't know have the exact numbers. I want to see the Jags get their offense going this week. I think it's a good spot to do it against Atlanta. I think this trip out to London is a chance for them to kind of get right. So, I will be taking Jags -3. I'm betting them every week. They're my favorite team. Big biased. I got to hang out with fucking Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk out at the Super Bowl. So I'm betting Christian Kirk touchdown every week. Those are just my guys. I'm a Jags fan. I'm a Jags bias. So I'm taking them
Humble brags.
I'm taking them at -3, the -3 this week in London.
Yeah, I mean, I already picked the Jags for the elimination pool, so odds are the Falcons are going to win.
Yeah,
but
yeah, we're all right. So I'm marking that down. I'm just going to put I'm going to put it in my notes. We're fucked. So okay,
I honestly might just start parlaying against myself here.
it's a good idea. You'll
That's
be
how
up big.
bad it's
You'll
been.
be big
I would
up big on the year.
I'd be able to retire. Next game we got Eagles Commanders, 1 p.m. at the Link. Spread is 8.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any reason. I think Sam Howell threw 4 picks last week in 4 quarters. He got
Rough.
absolutely abused. He's been sacked 18 times so far this season. He's on pace for 126. Ridiculous. Yeah, I think the Eagles have their way with them. The Eagles have had a weird season so far where they've dominated the games, but when you look back at the score and you're watching it's never close, but like somehow the score
it doesn't feel go ahead. Sorry.
Like even like last night, like the game, the Bucks never had a chance. Like literally never had an opportunity to do anything. So like I said, I think the Eagles are they're good, and they're just going to take a little. They have a new OC. You need to have time to have Jalen and that OC get connected and do their thing. Their run game is the best run game in the NFL, not close. So yeah, I think Philly does what they do. Attack the ground game, control the trenches. They win this game. I think they have their way with Sam Howell. I think it's ugly.
Yeah, I think so too. And just touching on the new OC part of things, even though Jalen had 2 picks last night, I still think the offense from like a throwing standpoint looked better than what it's looked in it looked better last night than it has the first 2 weeks.
I agree.
I think a part of that is just getting AJ Brown going a little bit more. I mean, he had a great game. But yeah, if you look back at that score, what was it, like 25
to 11?
Yeah, 25-11, like 14.2 touchdown game. That the Eagles absolutely dominated that game.
It wasn't close.
The Bucks got like a bullshit touchdown late in the game, and
that's the Mike Evans special.
Yeah, they got a bad touchdown late in the game that made this seem closer than it actually was. That defense just dominated all game, and the Eagles were able to do whatever they wanted running the football. But yeah, the offense is looking better. I think they go out there and take care of business, and they're one of the only teams that's covered all 3 weeks. So I don't see that changing here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love them. Go ahead.
All right, this is the game of the weekend, which it doesn't make sense to me, this line. But we've got Miami at Buffalo. Miami is a 3-point underdog.
Man,
that feels like the biggest trap of all time. Because what
we're speechless.
Why in the world would they be an underdog? I get playing at Buffalo is not easy, and the Bills have looked way better than they did week 1, but like that's crazy to me that the Dolphins are an underdog right now. I mean, they should be a favorite every week, realistically. So this feels like a trap. It's a trap. What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, like I don't know if Buffalo has an answer to stop Miami's offense.
They get Waddle back too, I believe.
So, and like I said, is Von Miller back this week? I don't know. I think that Miami is catching the Bills at a time where I think at this point you need to bet Miami just based off the fact that they actually might be a serious juggernaut. And the fact that they're getting 3 after how confident and good they looked last week, I think you take it. Listen, I said last week I thought the Patriots getting 2.5 against the Jets was a gift. I think this is our gift of the week. I know it seems like a little bit of a trap, but I really think that you almost like forget sometimes how much people love the Bills. Like, people love Josh Allen, love betting the Bills. So, and they're at home. I think a lot of people are actually going to be more on the Bills than you think.
When they make these lines, do you get 3 points for being the home team?
No, I think officially, I heard Raheem Palmer say this. I don't know if you know who that is. If not, follow him on Twitter. He's a dog. I think he said it's like a 1.5 point like difference that is being taken into account nowadays.
Okay.
It used to be like 2.5. Now it's like 1.5 with a hook.
Okay.
But with that being said, I do think Buffalo's home field advantage is a superior home field advantage out of, like, they might be a top 6 home field.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm going to ride with the Dolphins. They haven't shown any reason to be an underdog in this situation. They look unstoppable. Plus 124. They look unstoppable. And I just don't see how Buffalo contains them. I mean, I think they get Waddle back.
They do. He's back.
That just makes things even more difficult on a defense.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, Dolphins it is. All right, next we got Steelers-Texans at Houston, at Houston. Texans +3. I am
go ahead.
intrigued. I'm intrigued by this game. I think CJ Stroud has looked phenomenal so far. I think he has to play. I don't know. I don't know if the Jags are good. Honestly, I don't know if the Jags defense is good or not yet. But I think the Steelers defense is good. So I'll be interested to see how he plays against a defense that is, I think, universally agreed upon as a good defense. We've seen some big plays out of that offense. Tank Dell is stepping up to the plate in a big way, which is sick. A guy that you and I both liked a lot. The Steelers have played some pretty good defenses, regardless for how bad their offense looked. But I think I'm going to go Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think Pittsburgh rolls. The Texans have gotten, like last week, bro, they didn't have like 6 guys playing, and they came out and played a really fucking good game. They had a really bizarre kick return from some white guy wearing number 42 that just ended the game. Like, when that happened, it was over. It just didn't stand a chance. It was just like a weird situation that happened. I think that Stroud is going to have to actually face a real pass rusher this time. And man, I might be a little wrong about the Steelers. I thought they kind of sucked, but I don't know, man. I like the Steelers in the spot.
The Steelers always find a way to win like 8 or 9 games. And at this point, it feels like with how open that division is, it feels like they are going to do that again.
Yeah.
As long as like their defense plays the way that it does, they just need to get like the bare minimum out of that offense. And we've seen that happen so far. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the Steelers, but I think they win.
Yeah, me too.
All right, your elimination pick: Vikings at Carolina. Vikings -3.5.
Yeah, let's not overthink this. The Panthers suck.
They do.
They lost some of their biggest names on defense: Shaq Thompson, J.C. Horn, somebody who I'm a big fan of. They have Brian Burns still. Not CJ Stroud. Bryce Young's coming back. That offensive line is brutal. Jonathan Mingo is probably going to be out with a concussion. Miles Sanders has looked super underwhelming. And I think that the Vikings are dying to get back. I think that if you wanted to literally place like over Kirk Cousins passing, over Jordan Addison receiving, over Justin Jefferson receiving, Justin Jefferson to score 2 touchdowns, like they're going to have their way against the secondary. I mean, Kirk has been dicing up, and I can't name a single person in that secondary currently. The Vikings are absolutely due for a win, and if they don't win right here, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen with that franchise. Kitchen sink game for them. This is their Super Bowl. I'm taking the Vikings. I don't even know the spread.
Yeah, Vikings are -3.5.
Oh my god.
Oh, the only name that you would probably know in that plays corner, at least. I mean, he plays nickel, but Jeremy Chin.
Yeah, he's
But
tall and
that's
fast.
that's not really gonna matter, I don't think, in this one. I think the Panthers offense moves the ball better with Andy Dalton, and they let that guy throw it 60 times last week. We saw Adam Thielen look like a young Adam Thielen. I think he had like 9 for 138 and a touchdown, something like that. But as long as Bryce Young's at quarterback for this Panthers team, I really don't think they're going to win too many games or even be in too many games. I like the Vikings here -3.5 too.
Me too. And real quick, Bryce Young being not impressive so far this season is what you expect as a franchise right now. They know that they're not going to be good. This isn't a shock, but keep going.
Another thing, though, is he hasn't even really shown. I get it. He didn't play last week. I guess it's actually been 2 games. So this statement really doesn't hold that much weight. But he hasn't really shown many flashes of anything. Like we've seen some flashes with CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, even though he's been hurt. But I haven't really seen any flashes of anything good yet from Bryce Young. But it's so early. He's played 2 games, so whatever.
Bro, it's so early, and rookie quarterbacks, bro. You go back to the dawn of time with rookie quarterbacks, and their first year they always struggle. They take that next step their second year. So, like you said, verdict, it's too early. But go ahead.
Correct. Yep. All right. Next game, we've got a divisional game here. Ravens Browns at Cleveland. Cleveland -2.5.
I mean, the Cleveland defense is arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL. I like them in this spot. I don't love them in this spot. I probably won't bet this game. The Ravens are just a weird team, man, who like can't ever be healthy for any NFL season of all time. Like it seems like every single year they lose 20 guys. So honestly,
every
like
year.
if I were to do anything, I would just kind of bet on this Cleveland defense and Deshaun Watson, although an all-time bad Twitter clip where he is completely turned around and throws the ball 30 yards behind him. He actually played decent last week. Like he did play decent last week, other than that like super bad clip. But so if he can continue to make strides in his play and the defense continues to stand up and be a top 3 defense in the NFL, I like them in the spot.
I do too. I don't know if the Ravens have made any announcements as to who's coming back for this game, but if it's the same Ravens team that just played the Colts, I think 2.5 might be low. I think this Browns team could end up winning by a touchdown if it is the same Ravens team.
All right, I'm adding it to my card.
I'm holding off until I hear.
I'm just trusting your gut.
My gut has been terrible, so bet on the Ravens.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna put in quotes maybe Ravens, but go ahead.
All right. Bengals at Tennessee. My buddy Mark is going out there. He's a Bengals fan, so shout out you, Mark. Bengals are 2.5-point favorites on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like everybody like remembers like variable underdog at home, blah blah blah. We can go through all those stats. I think that that doesn't matter in this spot. I think Big Lou dials up a good game plan against this Tennessee offense. And if you've watched any of Tennessee, when Tannehill drops back and has had pressure, he's crumbled. you saw what they did last night against the Rams. They put Stafford in completely uncomfortable situations, and he really didn't know how to react to it, and it won them the game. Dax Hill, I love that guy. He came out and I knew he was going to be decent, but he was all over the place last night. I loved how they used him. Like I said, masterclass by Big Lou, and I just I mean, I don't think Joey B is fully healthy, like we've talked about, but I think he's healthy enough to get by. I like Bengals in a close game, very close.
Yeah, I like the Bengals here too. I don't know how good the Rams offense is, but the Bengals did a good job, like you said, of making Matt Stafford uncomfortable, and they pretty much shut down Kyren, which one is it? Williams, running back. Kyren Williams. They pretty much shut him down, and same thing with Puka Nacua. I mean, he didn't have his 15 catch night again, so I think the Bengals defense stepped up last night, and I think that they probably do the same here against Tennessee. I like the Bengals as well. I think I would take 2.5 here.
I mean,
that is if Joe Burrow is obviously healthy enough to play.
Yeah, and I think we kind of do know how good the Rams offense is. I mean, they put up 23 against San Fran week 2, and then week 1 they put up, what was it? Where's the game at?
They beat the Seahawks.
And they put up 30. I mean, it's a decent offense. I mean, but like I said, Lou came out with a masterclass on D, and they did their thing. I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked by that, but I like the Bengals in this spot.
Yeah, I think the obvious thing here is make Ryan Tannehill beat you throwing the football. I think that's got to be the game plan.
Yeah, put pressure on Ryan Tannehill, and like we said, if you watched any games, he's been brutal. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we got another divisional game here, Bucs Saints. Bucs are 3-point underdogs heading to New Orleans.
Yeah. I don't know the exact statistics, but the Saints have the Bucs number. They've had for the last 4 years. Same situation. Did they let up how many points were given up to the Packers last week? 18.
Wasn't still haven't 19 to 18. Yeah.
17, 18. Still haven't given up 20 points to an offense. I think this carries over. I think the Eagles completely exposed the Buccaneers last night. They're not a good football team. I think the Saints go in and do their thing and win this game.
I believe we're going to get Jameis Winston at quarterback. Alvin Kamara comes back.
Jameis Winston at quarterback. They should be 7.5 point favorites. But
mark your calendar, because this is your Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans battle. It's always fun. Those two dudes always like to duke it out, and I'm sure someone's going to get punched in the face. So
yeah, every time. Yeah.
I do like the Saints here. I think that we saw the real Buccaneers last night against the Eagles. If you can get pressure on them, then I think it puts Baker Mayfield in a really tough spot. They also can't run the ball for dick, so that doesn't help either.
Give me Dennis Allen against Baker Mayfield every day of the week.
I think Jameis Winston's going to come out there and throw for 430 yards.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking it I'm going to mark this down over in passing.
No, but I think
he's going to rip it, bro.
I hope so. Big Jameis fans over here, but I like the Saints getting Kamara back. I think they handle business. It's tough playing in New Orleans too.
For sure.
All right. The absolute worst game maybe of the whole season. Broncos Bears in Chicago. Bears are 3-point underdogs.
Yeah, I'm on the Bears.
This is another elimination game.
I'm in the Bears money line, and I don't care if the over under is set at 63.5. I'm taking the over in this game every day of the week. This is going to be the best game on the slate this entire day. Don't care what anybody says. If this isn't tuned in on your main screen, you're not a fan of football. Plain and simple. You're not.
This game is It's either going to be the highest scoring game of the year, like I'm talking the Broncos put up 73 and break the record, or it's going to be 10-7.
I hope not.
The over-under is at 46. You pick the Bears here. I just don't like Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields, but I just don't think he's looked good at all. God, this sucks. I might not even pick a team in this one. I might just stick with the...
Listen, if you want to go on the opposite side of things, I completely... Like, Russ has low-key been cooking, and Sean Payton going 0-4 to start a year would be absolutely ridiculous. So I could see taking the Broncos in this spot. The reason that I'm taking the Bears in this spot is because they need an absolutely get right game on offense. And I think that like a team that just gave up 70 to the Dolphins and they gave up 350 rushing yards, I think allowing to kind of unlock Justin Fields in this position where to just let him kind of run and do his thing, like have like 100+ yards on the ground rushing, get a touchdown on the ground, and like that will unlock a little bit more of like their passing game as well. I'm just kind of betting on the fact that I think the Bears kind of do something on offense this week against a struggling Denver defense.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to actually bet on this game, but
you're not a fan of football. But go ahead.
I'm going to watch it. But I'm not going to bet on it because
you have to.
I can't. This is a stay away game.
I respect
for
that.
me personally. But okay. I would say Broncos here. I as bad as they've looked, I think Russ has had some moments where he's looked like a normal NFL quarterback, and the Bears are just so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't even have. I also don't know if Jaquan Brisker's playing. I know he went down last week, but I don't know if he ended up finishing that game.
Everybody went down last week. Give me the Bears.
Fair. All right. Now we got on to Rams Colts. Rams are 1.5 point favorites going into Indianapolis. I think this game's actually going to be all right. I think I kind of like the Rams here.
Yeah, I'm on the complete opposite side. I like the Colts. I'm not going to bet it, but I think they get Anthony Richardson back this week. Even if they don't get Anthony Richardson back this week, I like the Colts.
I think this is just me betting on the better quarterback and taking Matt Stafford, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anything on Anthony Richardson. I think this is a game that I'm probably going to tune into because I want to see more Anthony Richardson play. So hopefully he's healthy and active.
For sure.
On to my elimination game. Raiders at Chargers. Chargers 5.5 point favorites.
What a shitty game.
I think yeah, it is going to be a bad game, but this is another game where the Chargers should win, and it'll probably end up being closer than it should be. The Raiders defense is not good. The Chargers did just lose Mike Williams, which sucks, but I think that gives an opportunity for Quentin Williams, I believe his name is, rookie from Quentin Johnson, from TCU to take on a little bit bigger role. I think that it's a great opportunity for him to step into that. I mean, one thing I actually wanted to mention was if the Chargers would have lost that game, Justin Herbert still might have ended up getting slandered, and he played a phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure what else people would want him to do in that situation because I think he only had like 5 incomplete passes and threw for like 350, something crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I think the Chargers end up winning this one. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, and we'll see.
I think I'm not going to bet it, but I will contemplate it of taking Raiders money line here. I don't think Quentin Johnston's ready. I think you see Joshua Palmer kind of step up into that third wide receiver role, or kind of second at this point. They need it. He played well last year. That's why I'm saying it. That Mike Williams loss is massive. Austin Eckler is apparently a few weeks out from still playing. Not a good sign. Like we said earlier, Joshua Kelly has looked awful. Their defense has looked awful. I think that I honestly really like the Raiders to win this spot. This might be first coach fired game, honestly. Let's put that on our radar. I don't know, man. I think I'm going with the Raiders here.
Yeah, probably a good choice, seeing how, like I said, the Chargers are my elimination team. So, yeah, probably smart choice. All right, we got Cardinals at Niners. Niners are 14-point favorites. Cardinals coming off a huge win. I think the Niners obviously win this game, but the Cardinals have kept it close every single game, and I feel like 2 scores is a lot. I believe they get Ayuk back, but I don't know. 14 points feels like a lot. They get paid to play too.
Damn, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this game. I obviously think the Niners win. Obviously, not too much content to talk about here, but if you are feeling dangerous, place plus 14.
Yeah,
for the Cards.
Yeah, I agree with you. Another actually pretty good game. Patriots at Dallas. Dallas 7-point favorite.
Oh my God.
I know what you're about to say here. I know you're about to pick the Pats plus 7. And I can't blame you. I think this is going to be a close game. I really don't know who I think pulls away with the win here, but
I mean, I'll let you know who.
Yeah, everything's leaning towards everything in me is leaning towards the Patriots, picking the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, you saw them play really close games the last 2 years, and it seemed to be the big problem while playing them is not being able to shut down CeeDee Lamb. Christian Gonzalez is that guy to do so. He's done a good job against every premier receiver so far this year. So he's not going to shut down CeeDee Lamb, but I think he could limit him. Again, I love the Patriots defense. I think that they come out and play a tough game. They're in a dome. Thank God the Patriots have been playing in absolute dog shit weather all season. Maybe they can actually get the ground game going and open up the offense a little bit. I like Patriots plus 7.5, and I'm going to sprinkle the money line.
My biggest concern is the fact that last week the Patriots played. They admittedly, obviously, it's a good Jets defense, but the Jets were still one play away from winning that game, and
that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Horrible.
One play away from winning the game is an extreme exaggeration.
There's no way that should have been a 1-possession game.
But okay, you're in MetLife. There's 25-mile-an-hour wind. It's a torrential downpour the entire game. The only thing that saved me this weekend was a $5 parlay with every single under in the book, and I hit for like 155 or some shit. Like, when you play in games where the weather is just like that bad, it really does genuinely affect the game, and they did enough to win. I think saying that it was a close game is a bit of an exaggeration. Zach Wilson is absolutely terrible. I think he made one throw at the end of the game, and that's pretty much it. When they were in prevent defense.
Yeah, that Hail Mary at the end of the game could have realistically been a touchdown.
Yeah,
that ball was definitely so close to landing in Randall Cobb's hands.
That would have been crazy.
Which would have been absurd. But yeah, I think this game ends up being a pretty close game, and I'm leaning towards Patriots plus 7. At what point in the season can we start flexing games out of prime time? Do you know?
Now
it should be whenever we want. Yeah. And this is exactly why. It's Chiefs Jets. Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites, but it's at the Jets.
Yeah, that means absolutely nothing to me. Obviously, I think the Chiefs do what they did to the Bears last week. They annihilate them. I think you should take this spread up to 20 points, and I think it'll probably be massive plus money. Why not? Why not us? Literally, why not
I don't
us?
disagree with you.
Like, fucking put it
that
up.
Jets defense is going to be on the field for 45 minutes again because Zach Wilson can't do anything. The Jets are just wasting their players' time at this point by not getting another quarterback. They're doing everybody on that team a discredit. They're doing Zach Wilson a discredit, putting him out there every week. I don't understand why they continue to say Zach Wilson is our guy. He's the guy that gives us the best chance to win. That's because you don't have anybody else in the fucking quarterback room that's any good either. And it's just horrible management by a franchise. I hope they lose by 30.
Yeah, real quick, and then we can move on. Saleh is fired. No matter what happens after this season, he is an awful head coach. He mismanaged this entire situation, and then doubling down and making Zach Wilson your guy loses you your job, no matter what.
Who do you think looks worse, Sean Payton or Nathaniel Hackett?
Man, Nathaniel Hackett's
because they're both in a very brutal spot right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest downfall of this entire situation that isn't spoken about enough is obviously Zach Wilson's really bad, but horrible. But on the other side of things, maybe if they had somewhat of a decent play caller on the offense who can actually put together a real game plan, it would actually give them a better opportunity for success, even slightly on the offensive side of the football. And me defending Zach Wilson is very rare, but them together is an absolute dumpster fire. Hackett's gone after. I mean, maybe he's not gone after this season because for some reason Aaron Rodgers has that franchise by the fucking nuts, even though he's a 40-year-old with a torn Achilles. Yeah, it's a tough situation. I think Joe Douglas probably gets fired, and I think Saleh gets fired. Plain and simple.
Yeah. I saw this on X before we started the pod. J. Cole thankfully released the letter that Colin Kaepernick sent to the Jets about asking for a chance to come and try out. So
I've been waiting.
Thank God. It's probably not a great sign if you have rappers trying to vouch for you to get on NFL teams.
No.
But
listen, love J. Cole. He seems like a cool, down-to-earth dude, but like this is just one of those situations where it gives not to get political because I don't give a fuck about the left or the right, but it gives like the extremists on both sides an opportunity to like absolutely lay into Colin Kaepernick and J. Cole, and then the extremists on the other side to like call the Jets organization fucking racist. So like it's just an opportunity for like the internet sucking has come up like 15 times.
Another one.
This is another opportunity for us to sit here and be like, this is just for the internet to have content to bitch at each other for like 2 days. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's all that I just wanted to mention. That I don't have anything else to say. On to Monday night. Monday night we've got game. Seahawks at Giants. Giants -1.5. The Giants need a win. I'm seeing that Saquon's listed as day-to-day, so he might be back, which is a good sign, but the Giants need to win a football game. What do you think? All right, word. I think the Seahawks go in there and win.
Hold on.
Yep, that's what I thought as well. Yeah,
Seahawks by a million. I mean, the Giants suck. Saquon's not playing. He came out and said himself that he has a high ankle sprain. It's a lot worse than what it's kind of being let off to the public and the media and everything, like, oh, he's day to day, it's only an ankle sprain. Him coming out and saying it's a high ankle sprain completely changes everything. I think he probably has a pretty decent chance to potentially wind up on IR if he isn't fully healthy this week. But I mean, like I said, we'll see. But I like the Seahawks here.
Yeah, I do too. I think there's just too much offense in Seattle, and the Giants defense just hasn't played great all year. So 1.5 point underdog feels very strange to me in this situation.
Might be a trap.
I mean, it definitely screams trap, but
Fuck it.
Yeah. That about does it. That's week 4 in the books.
Week 4 in the books. Great week 3. It feels good to be back. Yeah, man. I'm just, like I said, I got murdered last weekend. It did not feel good at all.
No.
I am making an official announcement. I am never betting on a college football game ever again. And
it's so bad.
I'm just on the wrong side of every college game to ever be existed in my life. Like, I literally have to sit there for 3 hours and sit through a 45-minute halftime to have my heart ripped out. And I just, listen, college has been cool this year. I've been trying to give it a little bit more of a shot. Me and Cole and Nick have been putting in like 15-hour days in Discord, just like absolutely rocking the games. And like, bro, I mean, I'm like exhausted by the end of the day. And like, I mean, it's harder to watch games and actually play in them. Everybody knows that.
That's right.
And bet on them. So, but listen, I'm out on college football unless if it's a lock.
Okay, yeah, of course. That's all that we give around here.
Unless if the game is a lock, then I'm not betting on it. But like, I don't know, man. It's just fucking, it just sucks. I mean, I'm just not gonna put like unit plays down. I'm just gonna put like a $5 like 2-leg parlay and just like have fun with it and like not like actually like care. Like that's kind of like more of the moral of the story.
Yeah, you say that until you win like a few in a row, and then you're like, "Fuck it, I'm putting 35 grand down."
I'm back.
Exactly. Yeah,
no, I mean,
I did want to. We kind of talked about this throughout last week and the weekend. Doing like another episode, try to keep it to like 40, 30, somewhere in there, where we just kind of go through a couple bets that we like for the weekend. So wanted to just see what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down. I mean, like I said, I kind of have like a little studio at my crib where like I can like always pop down and do shit. So it's a little easier for me where I'm just like, oh, like I was like sitting here on Thursday and I was like, like fuck it, I'm just gonna record a quick little episode and like throw it up real quick and like it's not a big deal. So yeah, I mean, I'm always down to do whatever. I mean, bro, I'll literally, even if you don't want to talk about like fucking football or whatever, and I don't give a fuck about like views or if people watch them or anything. Like honestly, at this point, for me, in my opinion, it's like about like repetition and like the fact of like actually doing it. Like if you can like sit down and like just do the shit and like put it out, like who fucking cares if it gets 1 view or 10 million views? Like for me, it's not about that. It's more just about like, I've always wanted to like start posting. Like, I don't really give a fuck about like other social media. Like YouTube has just always been like a big like thing for me where I've always been like, damn, like I really want to post on YouTube, but I'm not really sure how to do it. I have like a completely different confidence about it now after posting a few times and like, dude, I don't know. I just like it. So if you want to do more episodes or fucking shoot 3 times a week or whatever, like, or if you don't want it to be consistent with the second episode, it's not that big of a deal for me, but like, you can always talk me into doing it is what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah. I think it would be good to kind of go through just a couple bets that we like and go from there. I mean, I love doing this. So, even if it is just for 40 minutes, like I say 40 minutes, but odds
it's
are
so
it'll
hard
end up being like an hour because
bro,
we'll
even
ramble on. But
even tonight, I was like a little tired and like now I'm like absolutely fully wired and can like go.
Yeah.
Like I'm tapping my leg. Like I don't know, like you said, like I like doing it. It's fun and like I just don't give a fuck, and I want to keep posting. And your first probably 1,000 videos are going to be fucking brutal, but like, who gives a shit? And like, we can just keep growing.
Facts. I'm with it. I'm
Yeah,
with that. Let's do it.
and like another thing is too is like this is way down the line and like crazy to think about, but like, bro, like, I mean, I know like a decent amount of people that like, I mean, even Brenneman would like, I don't want him to come, like, if Brenneman comes on, we're not going to sit here and talk about his story or anything like that. Like, I'm actually going to shoot the shit with him and like keep it light and like not about like anything serious. But not that I always said this to you, like, I don't think guests are an important facet of a podcast, and I think having guests actually could take away from the overall goal of a podcast. But like, I mean, maybe in the off season or like in a few weeks, if we want to talk maybe a little more college. I know next week Adam actually doesn't even have a game or anything like that, so like, I don't know, maybe that, I think that could probably be cool, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm with whatever. I mean, I'm not opposed to having anybody on here. I mean, I don't think it needs to be like an every episode type deal where we have somebody on.
No,
But I'm
definitely
sure it
not.
wouldn't hurt here and there to have somebody pop on, even if it's not for a full episode. Like, even if they just want to come in here for like
15
40
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
15, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
However long, honestly.
I mean, do you listen to Russillo's pod, I'm assuming, right? Or every once in a while?
Yeah. I listen to
Like,
Russillo, Bill Simmons, pardon my take, consistently.
I like when like I like how Russillo has his like slated where he like does his open, he has his guests come on, whether that be for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. Then he spends the last like 20 to 30 on like life advice or whatever. Like, I like that concept where he doesn't like have to have like the full focus be like solely on the guest.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was why I said not having them on for the entire time and just having them on for like a little bit of a segment type deal. So
yeah, but this ring light I got is nice too. I mean, it's more of a lamp, but I don't know what your setup's looking like. I don't know what your setup's looking like over there, but if you need help or anything like that, and maybe want to get anything, I'll send you some links or whatever and let you know. I mean, I think it looks good though. I'm not saying it doesn't.
that's funny. I'm sitting on like a side table with my laptop and iPad propped up on books, and I have one lamp right here just shining
You don't have
right
a
at
desk?
me. No.
Oh my
No.
gosh, you need
I
to get
have a desk. It's upstairs, but I
You
don't
don't
want
want to get loud.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to get loud up there. So
I
I
respect
just
that.
come down to the basement. So I've been looking at just like the Facebook Marketplace and just going and snagging one, just throwing it down here. So
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, like I said, hey, great episode. If you, like I said, if you want to if you're want to talk about literally anything, you can hit me up. Or if you want to do it, like you said, like another episode about like your best bets for the weekend, hit me up. I'm down to do it. So let me know.
all right, brother, I'll text you.
All right. Good episode. See you, brother.
Go Birds.
Peace.